Yo, it is Friday, the end of the week. As always, if you know Team Superdead, then you will know that that means it is the wrap up. The wrap up. Da-da-da-da. We're going to think up some new music, like we mentioned last week. That is coming down the line. But Glenn, good to see you. How are you, sir?
Ahoy, hoy! None too shabby, none too shabby. I'm sporting my. I can just about see it on screen. My branded thing from the one time I actually did a sailing race. So yeah, this reminds me that I am basically part pirate.
There's a punchline in there, isn't there? I should then go, "Oh, it's not OR though, is it? Because that would be a flipping."
No, I'm not a farmer.
That'll be a farmer.
Yeah.
There was a joke in there somewhere. What do pirates say?
Oh, they do say R.
R. Oh yeah.
Okay. Everyone thinks that R is their favourite letter, but actually no, it's not. It's the C they love.
Ah, look at that. The man's all got them primed. Oh, I've got a little. Hang on. Hey, I've got a button on my sound desk for that. Oh, in fact,
that's better. I want one of those every time I tell a joke. I just want someone in the grand scheme of mixing just to be able to press that laughter button.
Oh, we'll try our best. Here we go. Perfect. So welcome. If you're here for the first time, then it's great that you found us this week. Our audience keeps growing, which is very exciting. No surprise. The better I am at sharing it, the more people listen, which is ta-da. There should be a round of applause for that one as well. But so people are increasingly watching and listening around the world, especially the podcast. So if you're watching on the live stream, then great to have you here. You can comment and we can bring some of that up. We'll get into the subjects of this week's show later. But if you're listening to the podcast, then share it with other people. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts because no one else seems to really have a good review area. But most of all, keep sharing. Glenn and I are doing our best to make this a lot of fun for you.
Well, as long it's fun for me, you know.
It's fun for me as well.
It's kind of my approach to podcasting and sex.
I had a good time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week. Or depending on how long the relationship's been going on, I'll see you in 3 months' time.
Oh, don't we know that? Oh, God, never again. Never letting that happen again.
It got to the point in my marriage where there's actually a section on the iPhone in the health app where you can track your sexual activity.
On an iPhone?
It's not like a video thing. You just put like, you know, when you weigh yourself, and it'll say, 81 kilograms, December the 2nd, 81.4 kilograms, January the 3rd. Well, it looks like that, but you just put an entry in. So it shows you when you track what you want, I guess, but track when you sex.
I absolutely want to do that now. Just so that there is nothing sexier than a good spreadsheet filled with data. So I'm gonna start doing it. I can fill it out for the last little while because there's no entries or exits there.
No, mine's a riot for 5 years straight. But yeah, so I did that too because obviously the subject got a bit of a sticking point. So I was like, just so you know, it has been 3 months and 3 days, which didn't go down well, I have to say.
Is that not good foreplay then? Okay, this is noted. This is good knowledge.
I know, dating tips from Team Superdad, from Johnny Jensen and Team Superdad, and the Dating Dad. Yeah. So, and if you are listening on the podcast, absolutely brilliant. And if you're listening, watching, doing anything live or on the replay, then good to have you here. It is the middle of the day and the sun is shining, so that's why Glenn's got the curtains open and I look a bit washed out. But we're not here for the high end video quality. We're here for the banter. Today's Team Superdad wrap up. Okay, we have got Hot in the 90s. We're doing a friend special. I couldn't resist. Jennifer Aniston. Driving fast, which is going to be quite funny because Glenn and I are on different ends of the driving spectrum there. Brother versus sister battles, because it has been both stretching and hilarious watching my two kids justify their behavior this week. In our slightly more serious subjects this week, I've put in there suicide prevention because I've been part of a book that's been published this weekend called Being Fine, the other F word, and what to watch, Brockmire, and When Parents Find Your Pornos, which again, another subject which our children probably won't ever have to consider. And if they're, well, unless they don't clear
always
their
about
history
browser
on
histories.
their browser. Which, by the way, kids, if your parents or your dad, as it normally is, if your dad sees that your history is constantly cleared out, that's pretty much
something we know.
That's a red flag. I need to seriously investigate what my kid's doing on his laptop now. So, but anyway, Glenn, how's your week been? Anything good? Anything bad?
It's been pretty good. Well, there's been a few things, some of which I shall share for future episodes, depending on how they develop and evolve. But I've not had my kids this week, so I've been able to actually get some work done, which is quite nice. Because there's only so much you can get done when you've got kids coming at you for homeschooling and or trying to actively avoid homeschooling. So it's been nice to be able to catch up a little bit. And haven't really done too much. I haven't really watched loads and loads of movies and TV and bits. I've just been chilling. It's been really, really nice. How about yourself?
Nice. We're at that age.
Actually, that is something I did. I did a painting. So I've kind of peaked lockdown now. Not only am I growing an avocado plant from a stone, I realized I've got a space above my bed. My bed's in a loft conversion, and the kind of the eaves kind of come over my bed a little bit, and there's this little strip just there which was empty. And when I took a photo of my room once, it just looked like a bit bland. It was all monotone. It was all blacks and greys and stuff. And it's nice, but it wasn't that. So I realised I want a painting there. You can't buy them for that like shape. So I had to make myself a canvas frame and actually just get some paints and do a painting. You know, when you've got an idea in your head and then it actually comes off. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it, and I'm still pleased with how it looks a few days later. This is abnormal. Normally you do something, you're thinking, well, it'll do is a bit shit, but it will do. So I've actually managed to make this happen.
And at the risk of referencing anyone caught up in the Jimmy Savile saga, are we talking Tony Hart or the Aussie guy that we can't speak about anymore? You know what it is yet?
It's definitely not trying to be something.
Okay.
And there was the concept I had was it's really long and thin, so it's kind of vertical stripes and paint, but it's kind of my week through emotions, and so it's a blue base basically, but sometimes there'll be stages where actually you're feeling a bit sadder, so then it goes darker blues and blacks, and then it'll go brighter when something exciting, and it'll be shades of like these tiny thin lines of red or green or something, where something different and exciting happens and inspires different emotions. So it's kind of, that's the concept of it anyway, and Glenn, it looks good.
You've really got in. You've really connected with yourself this week. It's like
I feel like
you're taking acid or something.
Just eating too much butter. That's all.
Oh yeah. Again, the things we do to excess in our 40s are very different to when we're in our 20s. ODing on butter is a lot safer, I think, than other recreational activities.
Tell my arteries that. How's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, it's been all right. It's been as usual. There's been some stressy moments. Mm-hmm. So I've written this chapter for a book called Being Fine, and it's a co-authored book, and it's available on Amazon. If you go to my profile on Facebook or the Team Superdad group or the page, there's a link to it now. So 18 co-authored book, 18 co-authors have written a chapter each, and I wrote about that, sort of coming to terms with our miscarriages and stuff in our marriage and how that impacted on me. Mm-hmm. But it occurred to me kind of at the last possible moment that I hadn't actually discussed this with the other person in my chapter. Mm-hmm. And so, I won't go into too much detail, but I did, and it required quite a rewrite, and it really made me reflect on like, doing things without thinking of others, or doing things from almost like a one-sided perspective. So I definitely had to take out quite a bit, and but it is a book that's going to make a big difference to a lot of people. It's very much about it's quite serious, but for any man that's kind of just going through a bumpy time, it's so relatable, because you're looking at it, you're going, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And
That's always the real challenge. That's why I wrote about dating, and not just from a kind of, I'm not one of these pickup people. It's about the emotions and feelings as a man going through that, and it just the amount of people who have contacted me to say exactly that. There was nothing else out there. I thought I was weird to feel the way I feel, and so it's nice just to know that someone else feels that connection is so powerful.
Yeah. I'm going to put a link in the chat whilst we're talking. But yeah, it's, and I've had that straight back. I mean, it's like, wow, that was really moving. That has helped me incredibly. That has made me have a whole different perspective on what I'm going to do next, or how I've been behaving. I mean, it is a big thing, and that men go around thinking I'm the only one. Literally bumping into other blokes. We're like, oh, he doesn't know, he doesn't understand. He would.
We're not trained to talk. We just don't do it. We don't talk about what's on the inside, just what's going on the outside.
Yeah, and that's why this book's called Being Fine, the other F word. So,
where can people find this book?
Well, once upon a time, you could say available in all good bookshops, but now there aren't any left. So you can buy it on Amazon. And there's the link. That's too big to look for, right? But it's called Being Fine. It's called Being Fine. You can search up on. It's actually 99p until Sunday, because it's in the launch stage. It's on Kindle only. So yeah, go and get it. There's stuff from all sorts of guys, old guys, young guys, men. There's actually a couple of chapters from women from their perspective as well. So it's amazing. So I've done that. Had to wrestle with that sort of stuff. Then I had the kids for 2 nights. Tottenham were absolutely awful last night, and my boy, rather than talk about the football, I'd talk about how my boy went, right? So my boy is in full meltdown. He's actually crying, which quite honestly, I felt like crying at times. So he's crying, and then he's in rage, and then he's standing up with a football in the lounge, basically running through what he would do if he was a manager, and why he thinks it's ridiculous that our manager is doing this so wildly, right? So I'm sitting there, obviously dealing with my own emotions at losing and playing so bad, and I've got this volcano happening all around me, and it made me laugh, because my dad used to say to me at the football, "Calm down." And I would be outraged that my dad was telling me to calm down. I think, do you not know how much this matters to me? I nearly got into a fight once, a testimonial, a bloody testimonial. What? The guy behind us was absolutely just destroying Chris Waddle, who was one of my kind of idols. And like Chris Waddle, he's quite, he's probably in his 60s now. Like, so when we were at this testimonial, whoever it was for, he'd have been in his 40s at least, and he's a bit fat, right? So the guy was just caning him. "You're this, you fat bastard!" Like. So I sat there. So then in the end, I turned around, I had enough. I was like, "I bloody love that man." Oh man, a stand-up like row with someone at a testimonial. So I definitely used to get too revved up. So that was good. But I tell you what, this leans in nicely to is the whole brothers and sisters rowing, because 2 brothers will just fight.
Yeah. I'm one of 7. And my little, I was, I won't say placid. I was never really a fighter as such. I didn't go out at school and have fights, and it was just no point. Yet every now and then I would just have to put my little brother in his place, because he would he'd grow a pair of bollocks, and he'd be giving it some and just start going and pushing and shoving. And every now and then it was just big brother time. Just know your place, boy. And I haven't been able to do that since late teens, as he is now not only in the army but very he is significantly physically stronger than me. He once did say, "Oh, Glen, let's do a charity boxing match. We can do it for charity." I was like, "Mate, we're in such different weight classes. You will literally kill me." And my insurance isn't going to cover that. But yeah, boys are fighting. Girls do as well, to a certain point. Although theirs is often a lot louder. Yeah.
Well, my daughter, she can run numbers around my little boy, but like kind of emotional sorts of stuff. She'll just have little digs at him, or she'll set situations up where he's just left going, hang on a minute, that's not fair. That's not. I watched it, I was thinking, I know what's coming next. And then it dawns on him like, hang on a minute. And I say to her, look, there will come there's only so much that I can accept where boys aren't allowed to punch girls. Right? Now, I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying at a certain point, like just in the, the ebb and flow of brother and sister, he will punch you.
Mm-hmm. And how old are they again?
9 and 11. So Rosie's 9, Jay goes 11. I mean, she's tough. She wrestles, she fights. She can give a mean dead leg and dead arm and laugh her head off if it's a good one. She's like, oh yeah, I got you there. Do you remember Police Academy when those two characters, the son and the dad, they would just like punch each other, and they had a boxing family, and they would punch him. Oh, good one there, son. Good one. Like spits a tooth out. So yeah, but it's getting weirder and tougher, and I'm kind of seeing more of the dynamics between women and men, and I have having to say to him on sometimes, just let that one go, because you are never winning that. It's just like an unwinnable situation, and is it worth it? And there's other times where I have to say to her, just like, he's going to punch you, like, and I'm okay with that because you've gone way too far. But yeah, it's hectic, especially in lockdown.
You definitely have to nip it in the bud. I remember when I grew up, twice, maybe even 3 times, I've had cutlery thrown at my head to the point where I had a fork sticking out of my head like that after my I think it was my brother or my sister just across the table just went poof, and ninja starred me with table cutlery. It was not ideal. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, well, if you've got a boy, and I know you have, but for anyone listening, watching, lockdown is a crazy time, right? But just get outside. Normal life, we used to go out and just do stuff. We would always be out multiple times a week, exercising, doing stuff. But just on lockdown this week, I just get my boy outside and just throw the ball. We've destroyed the grass. We can't play on the grass anymore. It's like the Somme. It literally is.
Without that little bit of exercise, you can feel really discombobulated. You can really... something's wrong and you don't quite know what it is, and they don't know what it is, and they don't want to go out, but they need to go out.
Yeah. Well, we're throwing a ball quite a long way, so we're laughing at each other doing rubbish shots. Then we're kind of going, oh, nice one, when it's a good one. Plus he's running about. Plus we're taking the piss out of each other. So it is good on multiple levels. So get out and about, dads. Obviously Fitbits and watches and trackers. I the other day I did 486 steps. That was it in one day.
Yeah, I went while I was waiting for that paint to dry. A mate of mine, he knew that I wasn't getting out, and so he said, "Look, let's just do a call and a walk." And he was off in Staines walking around his area. I walked around mine. I did 8.6 kilometers, which is more than probably the past 5 or 6 months put together. You know, just I never get out and go for big walks, and it was just the first time. It's so nice to do, and it took an hour or so, but it's better than sitting and watching paint dry.
Yeah, taking your mate out for a walk. Epic. So where did I go here? I got my list of things we were going to chat about. I think just before we crack on, getting into I'll talk about the Being Fine book and stuff. We like to touch on a tricky subject each week just to support men, and make sure that in amongst all the fun and laughter, we're just signposting people to go and do something sensible, right? Suicide prevention is vital. You know, that when I was in my tricky times, I hadn't realized how much I was thinking about it, and it wasn't that I was necessarily going to do it, or at least I didn't think I was going to do it, but slowly but surely, you know, the solutions to a challenge in time start to get whittled away. And actually, because it's such a finite, accessible solution, it seems quite easy to people. And this book that we've been part of, the Being Fine, it's actually supporting a charity called Black Dog. And Black Dog is a mental health charity, and it's really accessible. So you can just go to myblackdog.co. I'll put it in the chat for anyone watching on the live, and you can start a chat, like a text chat. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's all it is, right? But it's so accessible and so easy, and they've got trained respondents there, and it's just an outlet. It's just a release. So myblackdog.co, and of course there's Samaritans and other things like that. So dads, men, anyone that's listening, really, it's don't feel like you're alone, and don't feel, literally, if you're at that ultimate moment where you're going to make the final choice, then make it something different. Give someone a call. If it can't be a friend, make it blog or make it Samaritans.
And also try, men, we're crap at getting advice and support early. We kind of wait until our leg is rotten off before we even think about going to the doctors. And it's not about thinking I've got to wait until it's really bad before I call and speak to someone. Speak to someone early. It might take you down a totally different path of thinking, because the standard saying for suicide is it might be the end for you, but it's the beginning of pain for everybody who loves and cares about you. It's never a good option, and there are so many people and so much support out there for anyone who's feeling not just suicidal, but on the way to it, feeling sad, feeling upset, angry at the end of their tether. And the other Calm, campaign against living miserably, is a really, really good resource as well, because it's kind of, again, it's focused on men, I think to some respect, because we are different, we are rubbish in our own ways. And so it really helps be able to talk to someone who can just be there and listen. And I know I'm no expert, I'm not claiming to be an expert, but my DMs are always open. And I always respond to people who message me. And if you need help and support, drop me a line, or give Samaritans a call, give Mind a call, Calm. There's options. There's always options.
Yeah, totally. And those numbers are shared in the chat now. Calm in the UK is 0800 585858, and Samaritans is 116 123. So you are not alone. You're on Team Superdad. Good. Well, we like to do that. And you know what? I get so much good feedback from those little mentions we do. So it's worth doing. So anyway, driving fast, Glenn. Driving fast. Okay. I love driving.
You're a speed demon then?
I used to be. Were
you a boy racer?
No, not even so much. But I delivered pizzas at uni. Okay.
Okay.
I deduced that first of all, I had to get a job at uni. I just didn't. My dad didn't have any money to give us at that time, and so I had to get a job. And I realised. So I did. I worked at the county showground in Staffordshire. I pushed a tea trolley round the county showground, like what's it called, antiques fairs and things like that. Which actually, there was quite a good sideline there in creaming some off for the top for myself. But then I went and did silver service, like banquets and things like that, which is good because it was easy money, few hours a week, occasionally some tips. But I knew I had my eye on the ultimate student job, pizza delivery. And
what makes it so good as a job?
Because I knew that once I've been doing it a while, I could get some cushy nights. You just drive around, right? And by the way, I would not have done it on a moped, right? The pizza company in Stafford, I forget what they were called now. Oh my God. Oh, pizza. Obviously had pizza in the night.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like the kebab shop.
No, but they did Gino's. It was called Gino's. And they had cars. So it was just my perfect thing. And the bloke that was the manager was just a lunatic. I mean, Stafford's a mad place. Stafford, Cannock, Stoke. It's like a real hotbed of where raving started in the UK, and they're all just nutters, absolute nutters. So, so the manager in there would always be coming and telling me about his sort of all verging on chavvy stories of like, what do you think of this? Well, yeah, so I got my crossbow and I shot him in the leg. And I'm going, oh, that is really cool. Just kind of inside, just putting it away slowly. My cannabis hazed sort of youth, just feeling like, that's funny. But no, the best bit was I could drive cars around Stafford at breakneck speeds. There wasn't even that many cars in Stafford. So between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m., I just used to race around Stafford in a car. But when I first I passed my driving test, I had 3 driving lessons because my dad used to let us drive when we were kids. Like he would sit there. He said, "I can't wait for you to drive, then I can get pissed." Which, by the way, meant nothing because he used to get pissed anyway. And we don't encourage that, as this is a generational thing. It wasn't okay then, but it was a lot more done than it is now. But so he used to make us do the gear sticks when he was driving, which I make my kids do now. So when I got to 17, boom, 3 lessons, and everywhere we drove between, 8 hours past my 17th birthday and my test, my dad made me drive everywhere. So I wrote off my first car about 6 weeks after passing, Fiat Panda, head on, and then a second one was in some country lanes in Kent, and our car was unexpectedly coming the other way, and I swerved to miss it, went off the road and like T-boned a tree.
Jesus.
People say I am quite an aggressive driver in the grand scheme of things, but the 2 years of driving pizzas in Stafford kind of got it out of me. Like the Grand Prix side of my vision for my future. My dad was a rally driver when I was a kid, so I had go-karts and stuff when I was a kid. I could do donuts and figure of eights, and it was nothing I couldn't do in a go-kart. But it all kind of went off the rails a bit when my mum died, and all the focus that had been on that kind of stuff just went out the window basically. But and you can't do it anymore, because the moment you go over 30, 40, you get a ticket. There's no fun in driving anymore, and I'm not even sure I enjoy it. I've got a Vauxhall Sophia, nice, big boot, nice and easy, 0 to 60 eventually, and you just sort of poodle around. It's okay, but no, I've had some epic experiences. Probably my best one, and what I did get in the most trouble for at Stafford, he gave us one night, because he used to get secondhand cars from the auction, and he turned up one night in an old Vauxhall Cavalier.
Yeah.
Rear wheel drive. Now, people won't have much experience of driving a rear wheel drive car, but it is a lot of fun, because it's
very different. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing. And I'd driven these go-karts, which were all rear wheel drive. So I was like, oh my gosh. And it's just hilarious to spin the back out and stuff. So I came round the one-way system through the middle of Stafford, which I think is now pedestrianised. And I accidentally, because the turn around the police station is a left-hand 90-degree, and I did the back of the car just went round, and I did a complete donut and ended up, by complete chance, parallel parked outside the police station.
Like a glove.
It was like a glove. And then sure enough, 20 minutes later, a police car pulled up outside Gino's.
See, I never had that experience of any of that, because I actually didn't learn to drive until I was 30. Because I lived in London. I lived a few minutes walk from a tube station, a couple of buses were at the end of my road, and I was near a train station as well. So anywhere I wanted to get to, either just jump in a cab, because they're only a few quid, or jump on the tube. There was just no need or rationale for me to drive. So I didn't actually learn do my test until I was 30.
Yeah, well, plus in London, it takes what you can ride on because I learned this when I started riding my bike around London. What you can ride in half an hour takes you an hour to drive. So what's the point? Let alone have it sit outside your house. Yeah. It costs money.
Yeah, and then after that, kind of driving became part of my work and my kind of going out and meeting clients and so on. So I always knew that I couldn't do my job without a car. And so the risk of me kind of mucking that up by speeding and all that sort of stuff, it just wasn't worth it. So yeah, just sit there, stick cruise control on, have a nice little nap.
So what's it like when you drive for the first time at 30? Were you just were you as bad as the average 17-year-old except 30?
No, it was a piece of piss, because you're sitting there. I've been sitting in cars watching other people do it for years, and you just learn how to do it. You look around, and driving's really easy. It just is. Just all you got to do is get from one place to another without crashing. And and that's all right. That's easy to do. And if you're not speeding and all that sort of stuff, you're a little bit older, a bit more mature. You don't have to feel like you have to prove anything. You just drive, and it's so straightforward.
Have you ever been on a track day?
No, I haven't. I've done go-karting and stuff like that before,
Okay.
but never with cars.
Yeah,
sounds like a lot of fun.
It is, and it gives you a real idea of how hard it is to drive at breakneck speeds. The Lotus I went on, Lotus Elise one, was awesome, and they literally are like a go-kart that you can just razz that around. And then I did another one where in the afternoon day was broken into 3 days. It was again Lotus Elises, which equally fun. Then a Ferrari. I couldn't tell you which one, but the ones that are they're bigger. They're not, but so we went around a couple of times, and then when I think however you got 5 laps or whatever. So the last couple of laps, he said, "Right, I'm not gonna do as much as I've been doing." And turned out he was doing like all of it because then I've got this beast of a car that I'm thinking I'm doing really well. And, he literally was making sure I didn't crash the thing. And then, disappointingly for myself, because of my dad's rallying history, we did rallying in the afternoon. And I wasn't very good at that because it takes a lot of finesse, it's like ice skating basically when you're rallying, and I'm just too aggressive, just far too aggressive.
I love racing games. So, all the Formula One on PlayStation and stuff like that. So in my head, I could do it easy. You just hit the apex and get your braking points, and it's really straightforward. I know that I would die if I tried it, and I'm sure I will at some point. But I also know I'm probably not as good as Max Verstappen. I reckon he'd probably beat me. Ocon would probably beat me as well. There's a few drivers I know would definitely beat me, and I fit somewhere below them.
Are you an F1 fan? Do you ever watch F1?
I'm a beyond an F1 fan.
Really?
My youngest son's named Jensen, and I'm obsessed with the thing.
That's another whole avenue for conversation. Okay, cool. Because I'm not so much. I'm only because I can't concentrate for that amount of time on. Well, as I was saying that I watch NFL, but no, my dad's a mad F1 fan. Totally. Oh, I got driven around Brands Hatch by Sterling Moss in his Lotus F1, I think it's called.
Okay, now that is epic.
Yeah, I'll dig the picture out. I'll show it to you.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be
my mum died, and a family friend, he raced Formula 3000, and he said, "Oh, come to Brands Hatch, I'll race the boys around the track." So he'd given us a race around the track. Then we pulled into the pit, and Sterling Moss was there in this old car. And they were like, "Hello, boys, this is Sterling Moss." And my dad knew people because of the rallying. He works Ford, works Lancia, drove for Toyota, co-drove. And this is Sterling Moss. Like, hello, Mr. Moss. And then a couple of laps on Brands Hatch with in his car. I mean, amazing. The kind of thing you can only really fully appreciate when you're older, isn't it?
Yeah, without doubt. That's incredible. I'm immensely envious.
Yeah. Okay. Point on my board for that one. Oh, now I'm reminiscing. On the subject of reminiscing, though, segue neatly into it. Hot in the 90s, we did this. We have to get a jingle for this as well. Hot in the 90s, we did this last week, right? And I think I mentioned Jennifer Aniston as one of my crushes. Okay, so this week we're doing a Friends special in Hot in the 90s.
It's got to be Chandler all the way. I mean, Joey had his things, but intelligence is sexy. So for me, it's definitely Chandler.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. One for the ladies. Would I Chandler? Yeah, that sort of whimsical, boyish charm.
Yeah. He could laugh me into bed.
I was probably more Chandler than I'm definitely more Chandler than Joey. That's for sure.
I wanted to be more Chandler, but my family insisted on calling me Ross, and it really bugged me for years. And they see me as Ross still. I'm like, he's the worst character. He's the worst out of all of them. Yet I always wanted to be Chandler. So that's why I'm known as Ross still.
Oh, maybe I am too. I don't know. Answers on a postcard, or at the very least in the comments. So those that know me, am I more? It's not going to be Joey. Am I more Chandler or Ross? But anyway, that wasn't the idea, Glenn. The idea. Okay, we can do screen share for those watching. We've got, obviously, in the realms of friends. Oh, that's just you. I want to be in. There we go. Lisa Kudrow, Jennifer Aniston, and Courtney Cox.
Mm-hmm. Are we talking now or in the 90s?
I think we're going to go both. I mean,
the answer's the same for both of them.
Oh, okay. I think it probably is for me as well, actually.
It's clear. There's no two ways about it. It's Jennifer Aniston.
It is Jennifer Aniston, yeah.
Courtney Cox is hot, definitely. I mean, they're all beautiful.
Let me bring up some of their old ones. Courtney Cox. Oh, no, that's Jennifer. Save the best for last. Courtney Cox is 55 now.
55.
55.
God, I can't even begin to imagine looking that attractive at any age, let alone at 55.
Yeah, I do like a brunette. It's funny when people ask me, when I get thinking about it, I go, no, I do like a brunette, and then I go, oh yeah, but I like ginger as well. And they go, oh, actually, no, blonde. In fact, no, brunette. So and I realise I probably like just women with hair. So long as it's on their head.
The thing I realised a little while ago was I used to think, oh, it's all about boobs and then legs and all that. It's cheekbones. I am a sucker for a good set of cheekbones.
Okay, well, Courtney's got epic cheekbones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could grate cheese off of those.
Yeah. So for those who missed last week's, we started doing this hot in the 90s because Glenn and I realised that we're not looking at 25-year-old birds because whilst you might notice one as you walk down the street, when we're looking for prospective future partners, maybe even wives, and so yeah, we need to keep this age appropriate, which is either it's like school days basically, six years younger, 6 years above, that kind of thing. So Courtney's out on an age profile. She's out.
She's 15 years older than me.
Yeah. So how old's Jennifer?
Got to be about the same sort of age, hasn't she?
She is
51.
51 also. She's in for me.
She's in for you. Damn it. You know, weirdly, someone once tried to set me up with her because they kind of knew a friend of hers. And they sent this whole thing about when she's in town, how she should meet me. Weirdly, she didn't get back to me.
Oh. Don't they know what that does to us, guys?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why not. I don't know why she refuses to meet me. Why a random person who messaged her off of the internet that knows one of her friends, why didn't she respond? I mean, or maybe she is. Maybe she's just biding her time.
Or just let me down nicely. I don't know. It turns out she's got a new fella.
Oh, that'll be it then. That'll be it. So her and Kelly, the only reason that they didn't take me up on the offer was simply because they're in a relationship.
Okay, and before we move on though, what about Lisa? She has her moments. There are some attractive ones of her. I mean, she's an attractive woman, but if you're comparing the two, oh, here we go. This one, I can't resist pigtails. That's. I can. She's gonna. Can you?
Yeah, not for me.
I guess that's when you lived in London, did you do the old, it was huge for a while, the school disco thing down in
of course I did.
Area.
when I was young, when I was young enough so that I'd only been out of school for half a dozen years, less than 10 years. But then after that, it just, for me, it gets a bit weird.
I think you're probably right. But if your wife puts hair in plaits and stuff, back in the day of being married,
hey, if my wife did anything to spice up sex life, I would not be complaining.
She's talking to me. Woohoo! She's done her hair. She's brushed her teeth. She's
seriously, she doesn't have to.
Okay, so not surprisingly, Jennifer wins, but Courtney with her cheekbones definitely deserves a strong preference. I saw Michael Jackson in concerts once, and he got her. She was on stage. Amazing.
You're not talking about watching that Bruce Springsteen music video, are you?
No, I thought Michael Jackson got Courtney Cox on stage. I mean, I was only young. My sister told me he got some women on stage. I need to check in on that fact. Could have just been a random from the crowd. Probably more likely.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine why he would have Courtney Cox there, and why would he would get her on stage, and what's the point?
Courtney Cox, Michael Jackson stage. Oh, you're saying it was.
Well, no, she was famously in a Bruce Springsteen music video where she was in the crowd, and he gets her out and brings her on stage.
Oh, is it really? Oh my gosh. There is some news fact. Courtney Cox says she does. Anyway, boring. Okay, right, good. I love it when pop culture just sifts into my brain and has me believe that actually happened to me. That is
I've got to Google this now. Yeah, Courtney Cox, Bruce Springsteen video for Dancing in the Dark. Yeah, 1984. So this was kind of before she got big. And yeah, she ended up getting up and dancing on a stage.
Okay, so whoever
Every
got on
day
stage,
is a
Michael
school
Jackson
day.
concert I went to was not Courtney Cox. That makes much more sense. That makes much more sense. Well, Glenn, finally, this came up this week. I had a conversation with a dad, and oh no, they've got two things actually. Had a conversation with a dad. I'm not going to share the conversation because it was a dad coaching call, and so it doesn't, it's not the finer details of it, but part of it was about him discovering. This is his son's way older now, but discovering back in the day his son's porno stash in his room. Which our kids are never going to. Another one in our series of our kids are never going to know.
Yeah, they don't know how lucky they've got it.
I know. So it just made me think about some of the times when I was a teenager and that whole kind of sneak, a stash of pornos under your bed. And then even beyond that, when you got into serious relationship stages, and then there's the conversation when your girlfriend's like, "What are these?" I've had them years, which literally had. She goes, "Well, they got to go. They got to go." You're like, "Oh, like old friends."
Yeah, I never had that sort of material because where do you? It's not something you kind of got passed around groups apparently, and I just never had any of my mates who had that sort of stuff. I think someone showed me a set of playing cards once, and that's about it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I'm with you, kind of. I don't think it ever became too much of a thing until I was at uni. I think when I was at uni, it's like amazing how sheltered you can be as you're growing up. When I was at uni, we were old enough to drive, right? So anytime I went on a long drive, my Scouse mates would say, "Right, fill up with petrol," and they go, "Fags, Rizzlers, pornos." Right? And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "We never go on a long drive without those things, do you?" I guess now you're asking. No, probably not. But there's so many things I discovered from having Scouse mates and Manc mates that just were not on the horizon for your innocent average Southerner.
A journey of youth. Yeah, it's a real coming of age story, but literally with the emphasis being on the coming.
I know. But no, I'll tell you another funny story. We were about 14, 15, and my two best mates from school, Matt and Athos, will back us up on this one. This is not a Courtney Cox story. So we get called to my dad's office. Now, my dad had his own business here and a boardroom that was like something straight out of a 80s, TV show, like long with a big desk at the end of it, like way too grandiose for any need he had. So we get called in, and then like obviously we're standing there in our blazers, and he's like, slam it on the desk, bam, bam, bam. What are these? It was 3 videos, 3 porn videos. Yeah. So now, of course, you can imagine we're sort of like 16-year-old lads tittering in the like trying not to laugh. First of all, why would my mate stash them at my house? And second of all, they weren't mine either.
Oh yeah. That's what they all say. I'm just holding them for a mate.
Of all the things I've revealed on this wrap up or any wrap up, that would be a lot safer to reveal that I had some pornos as a teenager. But no, they actually weren't. They actually weren't. to this day, I think my dad was just going through the motions to stop himself getting in trouble with his missus, my stepmom.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it. I still. He said he doesn't remember. I've asked him. He says he doesn't remember.
Yeah, he's still probably got them.
He probably has. I'll have to introduce him to you, porn. Let's move on from this slightly awkward subject to bring us up to the top of the show. What to watch? People always asking us about, like, they keep posting in the Team Superdad Facebook group, like what you're watching, what box sets, what Netflix. So I've kind of put you on the spot here, but I've got a recommendation for this weekend. If you haven't seen Brockmire, then it is okay. It's good. So don't let it put you off when I tell you it's about American baseball, because it's not actually about American baseball. It's about Harry Brockmire, who is a commentator for American baseball.
Okay.
So you like a bit of cricket, yeah? So like Test Match Special.
Yeah. So it's a thing of glory and wonder. Yeah.
So it's a long, stretched out sporting event where the commentators, in between referencing what's actually going on the pitch, just chit chat and banter in a very relaxed kind of way. Now, American baseball commentary is pretty much the same. So then when you put it into a comedy situation, you can easily kind of ham it up and say, in amongst talking about the game, he's talking about his personal life and revealing things about friends that he shouldn't and stuff like that. So Brockmire is an absolute nutter. He's a boozer. He's necking all sorts of recreationals. He's sleeping with anyone that will entertain the thought. And then his whole life goes off the rails when he walks in and discovering his wife having an orgy in their lounge. And so he's like, and so as he descends into this breakdown, his career unravels and he ends up in Hicksville, nowhere, commentating on like a Division III baseball team. And it is so funny. I was on a flight to America when I was scrolling through what was on, and it said, this program contains nudity, sex, drugs, swearing, violence. So I was like, oh, I'm definitely watching
tick,
this.
tick, 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 tick.
And then before it played, it said, please be considerate of the people sitting around you because this may be offensive to them.
What are you going to do? Sit with your hands next to the screen like that? What are you supposed to do?
They were like asking not to put it on. I was like, home run. Obviously, nice little link in there. Yeah, Brockmire. You can search it up on the stuff. It's wild, hilarious.
A Netflix type thing.
I think it's, I don't know. It's either on, I know it's on one of them. It's either on Netflix or Prime, or I know it's on Virgin. I can just do it on the catch up on Sky as well. It's a cracker.
I've just been binging Man Down. You know, the Greg Davis sitcom, and it's ridiculous. I don't know if you know, like Greg Davis, the comedian, big guy, the Taskmaster, main guy. Yeah. So he's like, I don't know, 6'8", and he's not a small gentleman. And it's just like a fictionalized version of his character, and it's surreal, but it's quite funny. I really enjoyed it.
He was the teacher in Betweeners.
Exactly. Yeah. And he plays a teacher because he was a teacher when he was younger, when he started out. So he's plays a teacher, and it's just about him being crap at life in general. And it's sweet, and it's got Roisin Connerty in it. It had Rick Mayall as well, Tony Robinson. It's got a good cast, basically.
I'm sold already.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely sold. I posted on the Team Superdad blog today about 10 steps to dealing with depression, or 10 steps to get over feeling low, basically, and no negative media news content is one of them. So yeah, both these, Man Down and Brockmire. If you're looking for a laugh this weekend, then tune in.
And just watch back episodes of the wrap up.
Of course. We would love some feedback, by the way, basically. As mentioned last week, you can keep your negative feedback. But no, seriously, if you don't like it or you got some ideas, then let Glen know at a dating dad on Twitter, or myself at Team Superdad HQ on Twitter, or any of the socials. Just search for Team Superdad. You'll find us, teamsuperdad.com. We're here to have a laugh, basically. This is something I listen to a lot of podcasts. I run the London podcast community on Facebook, and I just have podcasts all the time. So I hope that people enjoy this. Put it on their smart speaker. You can ask your smart speaker, hey, I'm not even going to say it because it's going to kick in. But play Team Superdad with Johnny Jensen, and then it will play all the episodes basically. So we may have to break the wrap up out. I quite like the idea that there's a serious one in the week and a wrap up as well. So you get a bit of both, a bit of love and support, a bit of laughter. So yes, please share this wherever you can. Bring in other dads. Share it as a watch party if you're watching live. Share the podcast however you feel you could do that. It would be great to get your reviews and feedback and continue doing this for you all.
And if you've got any questions as well, anything you've ever wanted to kind of ask about being a dad, I mean, my side of things is also the romantic dating relationshipy type stuff. So if you've got questions or concerns or thoughts or ideas or even just a funny story, I'd love to hear them as well. Yeah,
we should do that. There are services where people can ring in and like leave a story. They do it on, what do they do it on? Oh man, they do it on one of the podcasts I listen to, and then so someone rings in and they're like, "Oh, they do it on, they do it on the Fighting Cock podcast." And they've always got people sending some "Would you rather" type things, probably a little bit farther beyond even our edginess there. But yeah, I did say in the Team Superdad group, I did say actually, tomorrow's wrap up. Let's have your questions or suggestions, silly or serious, is all good. So yeah, however you can get in contact with us, please do. We'd love to be answering your stupid questions or solving problems for you. Look at that. What's it called in the sun? Dear Deirdre. There we go.
Yeah.
Dear Glen and
Dear
Johnny.
Deirdre is Dear Dating Dad. Okay, we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this. Okay, good. Right, I'll be your first patient as we. But we're going to do that, aren't we? We're gonna go through my dating. I'll tell you one thing else I will say and ask is, I'm keen to get a mum on the wrap up. Probably once a month or a couple of mums. So we'll do this with a kind of with some banter from some women as well. I don't mean like let's have a serious chat with mums. I mean, let's get some fun mums on and take the piss and have a laugh with each other. Because actually, when I think back to more of my youth, I used to hang out with a lot of really hilarious women, and we had a lot of laughs. And then you get married and you have kids, and I've got to be honest, I don't have much. I don't have a group of women that I regularly have a laugh with. I do occasionally see old friends, and it is brilliant to see them, but I don't have a group of women that I regularly have a laugh with. And I do believe that women are still funny. So I'm hoping that women in their 40s and beyond are still actually funny. So
they absolutely are. I know I've met many women in their 30s and 40s over the past couple of years, and they are just as hilarious or not as the average man. Okay,
good. Well, let's do that, Glenn. Let's make like the fourth Friday of the month. We'll get a couple of top quality mums on, and we'll balance this out.
Sounds good to me. I'm in.
Nice one. Good to have you here, Glenn, as always.
Have a good one, and survive the next week.
Yeah. Team Superdad out. Take care. Bye.